Lower regulation, but higher taxes. Just another day in Utah. Hi, I'm Cameron Porter, owner of Robin Hood Studios, and this is Venture Utah. We've got a fascinating lineup of guests today in the entertainment industry. Brian Randall, a local filmmaker who is fundraising for the next season of his Amazon Prime series, and Michael Wolf, an audio expert and DJ. We'll also be joined by Scott McKinley from 2Evolve Coaching for the first time, so it's going to be an action-packed episode. But before we get to all that, we've got a few important news stories to cover. As anyone who has tried to build a home in the last few years knows, there are two major issues in Utah right now. How long it takes to get things done, and the low-quality work that seems to happen all the time. Well, a law passed the Utah legislature back in July that is hoping to address both of these issues, but may actually make them worse. HB 187 loosens the licensing requirements for general contractors by eliminating the trade exam, while requiring a 25-hour course end exam along with a 5-hour business and law course end exam. The argument has been that the trade exam did not add any reassurance that the contractors were qualified and was simply a barrier to entry that has prevented more contractors from entering the market. The basic argument for the changes was that by allowing more contractors to enter the market, consumers will have more options available to them when the contractor that they're working with is doing a poor job, and thus the free market will be able to weed out bad contractors faster. The counter-argument is that the consumer doesn't always know the contractor is doing a poor job until a roof caves in or a foundation crumbles, and by then it's usually too late. Utah's already has a reputation for being a bit of a wild, wild west in terms of the construction industry, and a very difficult environment to ensure quality construction already. And there's a worry that easing the licensing requirements will just feed more unqualified contractors into the industry. But as one contractor commented, shoddy work is not usually due to a lack of knowledge, but instead due to laziness, which you cannot put in an exam. For consumers who have had a bad experience with a contractor, the Department of Occupational Licensing does accept complaints and can revoke licenses or fine contractors who are not providing quality service. The state's tax proposal on service-based industries has seen some modifications on what services will be included on the new tax. Portrait photography and photo finishing, driving schools, yoga classes, tutoring, most forms of instruction, and newspaper publishing, oddly enough, are among the services that are no longer included in the proposal. I don't know if it had anything to do with the decision, but I did send a long email explaining why trying to charge sales tax on photography services opens up a can of worms, and it's nice to at least feel like the task force is listening to feedback. This sales tax proposal is running into a lot of pushback, and no matter where you stand on the issue, definitely get your feedback to the task force to let them know your thoughts on the proposal. Our last story is that the Disney Plus streaming service is officially live. For those who are planning on getting Disney Plus, there are a number of films that were partially or completely shot in Utah on the service that you can check out. The Sandlot and High School Musical are probably most well known, but Disney Channel originals such as Johnny Tsunami, The Luck of the Irish, and portions of one of the Halloween Town movies, I'm not sure which one, were also filmed in Utah. KSL.com has a list of many of the movies, and I would encourage you to check out that list and support the Utah filmmaking community. Alrighty, so our first guest for today is Scott McKinley.
Pleasure to be here.
So this is not the first time we've met.
No, we've met before.
Yeah, my wife and I came to your home, and we had a great meeting, a great session, and it's going to be very exciting for me to get to know you a little bit better.
I'm looking forward to it.
So when you are coaching, would you say, who are most of your customers?
Oof, everybody.
Everybody?
I wish I could quantify it and say, oh, it's typically business owners, but it's not. I work with individuals, I work with parents, I work with kids. I do a lot of work with business owners because it's an easier in with coaching is to be able to say, well, I'm working with a coach for my business, but all business problems are just personal problems in disguise. So
interesting.
A lot of the people that I work with do own businesses, but then there's just quite a few that are just those people that have realized that there's more control that can be had in their life, and they're looking to kind of get a piece of that.
So when you say that most business problems are personal problems in disguise, what do you mean?
If you're a business owner and let's say networking is something that you have to do, obviously you're in BNI, I'm in BNI, we go out, we weekly are going and having meetings with people. But if you've got a fear of public speaking or if you've got a fear of just having your wall down to be able to connect with a person, that's a personal problem, but it's going to affect your business. So I'll get hired by somebody saying I need to kind of get rid of some of these bad habits that I've got when it comes to connecting with people, but it all comes from these redundant sets of automatic thoughts and behaviors and emotions that came through repetition in their personal life, and it affects them in all different aspects.
Interesting. So, a common thing that I've heard, and honestly, a way that I felt before I finally did do some coaching, was I know what I need to do. I don't need to be coached on what to do. I just got to get better at doing it.
Right.
And I can do that myself. I don't
Sure.
need a coach.
Of course.
But, it sounds like what you're saying is actually maybe I can't just do it better by myself.
I think the thing that really helps us as coaches for both Joe and I is that assessment that I know he's talked with you about. I've watched the programs. I've seen it. That's basically like getting a set of a profit and loss statement. An accountant's going to look at that financial report for a business. He's going to see what's working, what the strengths are. Then he's going to look in and say, hey, here's some areas that we can be working on. I'm going to be giving you recommendations on a monthly basis. Then I'm going to sit back down with you every month, and that's really what good accountant would be doing. And we're going to evaluate our findings. We're going to see what changes were made. We have that same ability with that report that we do. So yeah, for the individual that says, look, I know I've got some bad habits. I know I'm grumpy. I know I'm not grateful. So I need to work on that. But if there's not that accountability aspect to it, and that's what a coach brings into it, the accountability and the perspective is huge. And you might feel like you're making changes, but when you really compare it to somebody that's there that can give you those recommendations and can say, are you open to some perspective, let's try and do it this way, it really takes it to a completely different level. Look, I think personal development is something that an individual can definitely do on their own, but you need that catalyst. You need that one thing that's going to just be pushing you and encouraging you and moving you forward, and that's where a coach comes in.
So would you say, I had a quick thought, and I want to share it. It's not super relevant.
Let's hear it.
I want to share it. And that is, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, if you're doing doing some construction work, and you're using a screwdriver to put in every single screw. Like, yeah, it's going to work.
Sure.
And yeah, your muscles can get stronger, your technique can get better, and you can get faster at it. But if you don't know that such a thing as a power drill exists,
right, perfect.
You never can use it.
That's a great analogy, and I love analogies because I use them all day long. And it's the truth. I mean, there might be things that are, look, habits are the undercurrent of thought. They're the subconscious things that are going on that are just so automatic. Joe Dispenza, who's one of my favorite people to listen to, he's a neuroscientist. And he says that by the time we're 35 years old, 95% of what we do on a daily basis is coming from just our habits. So we wake up in the morning and we might think that we're doing things differently, but our body is just operating and running on that program. You get in the car, you get in the traffic, that puts you in that mode of being angry, and there's where that road rage comes in, and that's just a habit. You've just been conditioned to do that. Then you get into the office, you see the same people, and that kicks in that habit of judging people or being critical of other people, and you might not even be aware of it. So getting that understanding, having somebody be able to sit down with you and explain where your habits are supporting you, but also, hey, you might not even know that. And a lot of the clients that I work with, it'll be 2-3 months that we're working together, and something will be uncovered, and they'll go, I didn't even realize that was happening, but the more I think about it, the more I give it that focus, I can kind of trace it back to where it all started from, and that's the starting point. Look, if we can have a conversation about something that's stopping you or blocking you, then we can start managing it. We can start looking for results. We can look to see improvement, and that's what we aim to do with our clients.
That's phenomenal. That makes a lot of sense. Now, in your experience, particularly with business owners, but with everybody, are there really common things that you run into, common bad habits that you address the most frequently?
Yeah, probably the fear of money, fear of success, fear of money. Oh man, so many business owners, they start their business because they're, like Michael Gerber says in the E-Myth, they're technicians that had an entrepreneurial seizure. They just decided one day that I can do this better than the company that's paying me to do it right now, so I'm going to go start my own business. So they get out there and they're motivated by the production. They love the production, but they don't understand that, I was just talking with one of the other guests, sales, that's a huge part of being in business. But if you've got a fear of money, if your paradigm with money from growing up as a kid was money sucked, money was never there, money was always tight, those paradigms will roll into your business if you're not aware of it. And I would say probably 90% of the clients that I work with, and I work with a lot of different people, but 90% of the clients have that fear of money. They have that fear of success. And what they don't realize is that fear, if you understand how the law of attraction works, that fear is actually blocking the abundance that's out there. There's money traveling over our head right now. There's money out there. There's more clients than you could possibly deal with that are out there. But sometimes those fears, they stop us from taking action. They stop us from doing the things that we want to do, and it blocks that success. So that's probably one of the biggest ones, the fear of money, the fear of success, not feeling worthy. I work with a lot of people on getting past those habits of thinking about success, and that, everybody else deserves to be successful, but I guess I'm just not meant to be successful. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to bust my butt and I'm going to have 4 jobs and I have to work hard in order to do that. And I don't believe that that's the case. You do need to work, but if your philosophy is I have to work hard, you will attract the people and the circumstances and the situations that are in harmony with you having to work hard. If you can learn the principles of success, then you can apply those principles to your business. I mean, I've worked with a client before when we first started working with her, and she said, I've got 4 businesses that I'm running, and I can't get past $5,000 in billings every month. I'm doing this and this and this, and should have been making great money, but she kept saying, I just can't get past this $5,000. I don't know what it is. I was taught I have to work hard. And, we said, are you open to some perspective? And she said, yeah. We said, stop talking about 5,000. Stop talking about having to work hard. Start talking about what you want. That's the biggest problem that I see with most of my clients. We don't talk about what we want. We complain about what we don't want. And if you've ever read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he talks about the law of attraction. In 1920, 1930s when he wrote that book. And he says that it doesn't matter if it's a good thought or if it's a bad thought, whatever your dominant thought is, will be attracting those circumstances into your life. So to listen to this client going, I'm working hard, I've got 4 businesses, I can't get past $5,000 in billings. We said, shut up about the $5,000. What do you want to be billing? She said, well, I'd like to be over 10. That month she hit 11. And it went up and up and up. And within 4 or 5 months, she was billing $40,000 a month, and she was working less than she was working when she was billing $5,000. Now, I'm not saying that it's that you just have to think about it. There's action that has to be taken, but you can start working smart instead of working hard. It's the language that we use. And that language comes from our habits and our paradigms. And so my job is just to help people uncover that language, figure out where the paradigms are coming from, and like Joe says, teach people to pivot. When that first thought that you have, that's the thought, that's the unconscious habit thought. That's what Joe Dispenza is talking about when he says 95% of what we do is just subconscious. If you can catch that first thought and go, I don't want to think about 5,000, I want to think about 40,000. My efforts are going into $40,000 in billings. I'm talking about that now. You will start to see a shift take place by learning to pay attention to your subconscious. Your subconscious brain isn't supposed to be in control. It's not supposed to be the master. And yet, by the time we're 35 years old, it's running the show. My job is to teach people to get the subconscious working how it's supposed to work. Get it working with you. Get it working for you. One of my favorite things to do with the client is to teach them to name their subconscious. You're talking to it already. Who out there talks to themselves? Everybody talks to themselves. So you might as well get a relationship going with it. Give it a name. Have fun with it. I call mine Johnson. So we have this family joke at home, and I just go, I like it, Johnson. If I have a good thought, I reinforce that good thought and go, that's what I'm talking about, Johnson. Nice job. If I have a bad thought, I catch it and go, Johnson, what are you doing? Get that out of here. Knock it off. If you can teach people to have fun with it and to laugh, Sounds crazy,
It does a little bit.
but the more you do it, and I don't mean you need to be walking around talking out loud to yourself.
Sure.
You're already having that dialogue and that
yeah,
conversation.
everybody
Problems come in our life when the subconscious mind and the conscious mind aren't working in harmony. The subconscious mind is working off of fears and paradigms and those habits. So if you can start saying, look, Johnson, from now on, when it comes to money, I want to be focused on enjoying money. I want to love paying my bills. I want us to enjoy having money in the bank. I like to enjoy spending money. That's what I want you focusing on. Don't worry about where it's going to come from. That's my job to think that through. I want you just reinforcing that we like having money. We like spending money. You start giving it those assignments to be working on. Try it when you go to bed. You know, when you're going to sleep at night, your subconscious mind, it's not doing anything. It doesn't have any smells, it doesn't have any sounds, doesn't have any sights that it's dealing with. You can start learning to reprogram that subconscious program that Dr. Dispenza talks about, and it's awareness. The more you're aware, the more you can see where your habits are working and not working, and you can start having that dialogue with a coach, with yourself, with that subconscious part of your brain. That's when real change starts to take place for a lot of people. It's amazing.
Wow. Well, I wish I could ask a few more questions. We're actually out of time.
I can talk a lot.
No, that was fantastic. I'm pretty sure my subconscious is going to be named Nebuchadnezzar.
Hey,
but
there you go. That's awesome.
But I appreciate it. If people want to get in touch with you to learn more about your coaching services, what's the best way to reach out?
You know what? They can email me, scott@toevolvecoaching.com. That's the best way. I'll give you a link to the assessment. If anybody wants to take the assessment, it's free. We'll sit down and we'll do a debrief with you for 45 minutes to an hour to really help you understand it. So I'll get you a link to that as well, and where they can give me a call on my phone.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Appreciate it, Cameron.
Yep. Okay, so while we're waiting for our next guest to get ready, I want to do a quick shout out to Venture Utah, of course. If you'd like to be on the show, it is free to be a guest on the show, and we would love to have you on. We're averaging between 1,500 and 2,000 views per episode right now, so you can get in front of a lot of people here in the state of Utah to show off your expertise and show off what makes you such a great business owner and service provider. So, if you'd like to be on the show, go to ventureutah.com and click on Become a Guest. We've got a little form there for you to fill out, and we'll get that form, and when we've got an episode that fits your business, we will get back to you. All right. Our next guest is Brian Randall, the showrunner for Phoenix Inc., a short series available on Amazon Prime. Brian, thank you for being here.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay, so first off, tell us a little bit about Phoenix Inc.
Phoenix Inc., I like to say, imagine if Christopher Nolan, he's the guy who made the Dark Knight trilogy, Memento, Inception. Imagine if he had made It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay. Okay.
That's how I like to... the idea started off very fantastical, but it became very real to me at kind of a tough time in my life. So the main character of the show, Elijah, has this gift where he can find people who need to die, but don't need to be dead. That's how he says it.
Okay.
People who are contemplating suicide because they can't find a way out of circumstances. Not because they want to die, but because they feel so trapped. And he helps them to disappear in whatever way they need to. Faking a death is the most common approach they use. So they can start again and sort of go through a phoenix process.
The rebirth,
The
born
rebirth,
from the
that's
ashes.
exactly. The tagline of the show is where the afterlife comes early.
Okay.
So,
Very interesting. So how did you come up with the idea for Phoenix Inc.?
well, it comes from my life. I was at a place that was pretty dark. I would say I've been what you might call semi-suicidal a couple of times. I don't think I ever would have actually gone through with it, but I felt trapped. And I had this concept hit me that I wanted to die, but not because I wanted life to be over.
Okay.
It was that I just felt like I couldn't keep moving forward. I felt so stunted in personal growth. And so it felt like death was happening in a way. And I wanted to reach people with this story who were in the place where I was and say, look, it's not that bad. You can have hope and things can get better. And in fact, there's a short film that came before the series. And in the short film, they help him realize that he didn't need to disappear in the first place. They help him kind of come to grips with the fact that his situation in life is good and that he can learn to appreciate it, and he does. And then in the series, they find all sorts of situations that they confront. So sometimes they help them fake a death and disappear, and sometimes they help them in other ways.
Interesting. Okay, so so where is the show available?
Amazon Prime and YouTube.
Okay.
I recommend Amazon Prime. It's a much better viewing experience. People don't usually sit down and relax to watch something on YouTube.
Sure.
It's usually I've got 5 minutes at work.
Yeah.
And so I think Prime is a better experience that way. The captioning is a little superior there.
Sure.
So,
Okay,
but YouTube as well.
Okay, so what's the now this? I am curious on the business side.
Yes.
So what does the revenue model look like when you're on Amazon Prime? I mean, not everybody can get on Amazon Prime, right?
It's Amazon Prime has a side for independent film creators.
Okay.
And so you have to meet a number of requirements in order to get there. It'll go through a review process. So it's possible for anybody technically, but also not.
So they get rid of a lot of the
There's
the
a
junk.
lot that's involved there.
Sure.
To make that happen. And so the revenue model, it's similar to YouTube, where you're splitting revenue with Amazon.
Okay.
And then they place ads in front of your video and things like that. Typically, it's ads for Good Omens or whatever show they're pushing
sure.
at the moment. But that's how it works. I'm also currently in a sponsorship that just started this morning, actually officially. Yeah, we've got it's an estate planning law firm called Inter Vivos. They're in Linden, but they're also international. They're all
Okay.
over the place. But they, I talked to the owner, the founder of the firm, and said, look, I don't think very many shows hit nearly as close to home for people who are thinking about an estate plan.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Well,
So
congratulations on
thank
that.
you, thank you. And we are still looking to raise additional funds to get season 3 off the ground. That's going to help, but it's not going to cover everything.
Sure.
So
Let's talk about that. Let's talk.
Yes.
So right now you've got a campaign going.
yes.
Where is it at?
It is, so we're about halfway through our campaign. We've raised, a little less than $1,500 at this point.
Okay.
So pretty low budget at the moment. We're hoping to get that up in the next 30 days.
Okay.
So
And is it on Indiegogo?
Indiegogo.
Okay,
Yep.
that's where it's being hosted.
That's
And it's just called Phoenix Inc., right?
Phoenix Inc. And that's Indiegogo is a great platform because they give you various options for cashing out.
Sure.
It's not all or nothing, which some people feel like the all or nothing model is the only way they want to donate. But the reality is with a lot of projects like mine, we can make a product with whatever we bring in. It's just a matter of each additional dollar is going to make it that much better.
Gotcha.
So
Okay, so now, here's the tough question.
Okay.
Everybody watching right now, why should they go to your campaign and put money into Phoenix Inc.?
There's so much terrible media in the world. And what I mean by that is media that's not uplifting. In my opinion, the only reason I like to consume media is to make me a better version of me, to make me happier if it's a comedy, to inspire me if it's an inspirational film. And even, comic book movies, they may not inspire me the same way that, say, Remember the Titans does, but it's still this inspirational feeling that makes me want to go out and tackle my problems and deal with that. And this is a show that focuses on that feeling of finding the good in your life, of knowing that there is good out there even if you're in a dark place. And the closest show to it in many ways is 13 Reasons Why, which in my opinion has the exact opposite effect on people. There have actually been numerous copycats who have taken their life and left a tape for people to listen to about why. That is a nightmare scenario for me. I think suicide is such a tragedy, and I want to prevent it as many places as possible, and that's what this show is really all about. So the messaging behind the two shows, I call them sister shows, because they have seemingly a very similar subject matter, even seemingly similar themes. Just in a lot of ways, they're very similar, but the end result you get after watching it is going to be completely different. The other thing is, I focus this show, almost everything you watch nowadays is TVMA. If you look at any highly successful show, the odds that it's TVMA are very high, especially on streaming services like Amazon and Netflix.
And for those who don't know, TVMA is essentially the equivalent of an R rating.
Of an R rating, yep. You can guarantee a certain level of language and violence. most of the time in what's TVMA. Well, I think that's a bit exclusionary for younger viewers. And with some shows like The Handmaid's Tale, I think TVMA is very appropriate. I don't think you could effectively tell that story in, say, a TV-14 setting.
Sure.
But my show is focused on the TV, I would even say to some extent PG, but definitely the TV-14 demographic, because teens need this message, maybe more than they ever have before. And I want to reach them, and there will be in the future, there will be episodes about teens, because this is something they deal with a lot more than adults even realize a lot of the time, I think, and it's getting worse if you look at the numbers. And so this show is all about prevention, it's about learning, it's about helping yourself get out of those dark places, and honestly, there's not a lot of shows that deal so directly with such a difficult subject matter. And that's why I keep making it.
Okay. So you've gotten 2 seasons so far?
2 seasons, they're short seasons.
Short seasons. All right.
This season will be longer. If we can reach some of our lower end goals, at least it'll be a longer season.
So I checked the goal. The goal was 50,000.
50,000.
Right? So how many episodes are you trying to create?
3.
3. Okay.
Now, if we reach our goal of 50,000, it's going to do some really cool things for us. The show is going to take noticeable leaps and bounds from where it was in the first 2 seasons. And the stories are incredible. The stories that are coming are terrific. They're going to sum up some of the cliffhanger, or close, what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to tie up the loose ends of some of the cliffhangers from before and introduce some new killer characters. No pun intended. Some characters.
Spoiler alert.
Didn't even mean. Just some characters that are going to be really cool and interesting, and even based on real people. To some extent, which is going to be fun.
So if people want to check out Phoenix Inc. on Amazon, do you have a viewing order recommendation? Should they start at the very beginning? Or?
So there is, currently it's in the order I would want somebody to go in blind. If they're just like, oh, this looks interesting, I'll watch it. It's in the order that I would want them to watch it. But if you're watching it after watching this, I would tell you at the end of season 1, I included the short film. And I actually recommend that as a starting place. But the thing is, the short film has a different POV character. In the short film, you're watching this happen through the eyes of the client, of the person who is suicidal.
Aiden.
That's right.
I watched it.
Nice. And in the series, you're watching through Elijah's eyes.
Okay.
But I think, the production value on the short film was a little lower, and we were just kind of figuring things out. So it's not quite as, I think, gripping as the show itself.
Okay.
So go in, watch it that way, and then you'll have a really good groundwork for understanding what happens in the episodes that follow. Okay. But I do consider the 2 seasons are harbingers, and how can I keep from singing, and that's the order I recommend watching it in. And then the short film can go in wherever, because it's.
So when I was watching through it, so I watched the short film, and I think I watched the first episode of season 2, or season 1. Yeah, season 1. And structurally, I could see it being actually very similar to Person of Interest. Have you seen Person of Interest?
Yes. If I were to describe the show, like I talk about it being like 13 Reasons Why, but that's just in themes. If I were to describe the exact, like, the parents of this show, it's a baby of Person of Interest and Leverage.
And I haven't seen Leverage.
Leverage is like, imagine if Ocean's 11, 13, not really 12. If Ocean's 11, 13 were a TV show. So it's like a heist in every episode.
Oh, cool.
Really fun, kind of quirky, but it's got some of the heaviness of Person of Interest and a very, very similar vibe.
So what's the end goal? I mean, so obviously you want to continue creating this content. You're creating Phoenix Inc. How do you make it so that it is a profitable and sustainable business venture? My
goal is to get picked up. My goal is I'm creating these episodes to shop to a studio and say, this is what you get. And at that point, we'd probably have to end up reshooting, because I'm sure they'd want A-list celebrities to be in some of the starring roles. And
sure.
But that's really where I'm taking it, is I want to have a really solid product, and I want to build a big enough following that when I take it to a studio, I can say, this is who's following it, this is how big it's gotten, let's make it happen.
That makes sense. So it's kind of like a proof of concept on steroids.
Yes, and if I were to make my millions, because I've got a couple other shows that I'm currently trying to sell to studios, and if I were to make my millions elsewhere, I would fund this myself for years to come, because I think it's an important show, and I could see how for some studios it might seem like a risk, even though I think it would do really well. I can see the studios considering it a risk.
So as far as shopping it out to networks, are you thinking broadcast, or are you thinking streaming?
I would prefer streaming over broadcast, although the difference is minimal.
Sure.
So you can do some really cool things with streaming that you can't do with broadcast, including making it a binge drop, which is really a cool thing as opposed to going week to week.
Right.
But even the streaming models, like Disney Plus is going away from that binge drop of a season. Like The Mandalorian is going to be coming out week to week. So,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you having on. So,
yes,
just a quick reminder for everybody: Indiegogo. If they search Phoenix Inc., it should pop right up, right?
Yes, and if you're looking for it on YouTube, you'll want to look for Phoenix Inc. Harbingers. I say that because there are a couple of businesses, one actually located in Phoenix, Arizona. There is an actual Phoenix Inc. that's a legal firm or something like that, and a couple of other businesses with similar names. So if you're looking, Phoenix Inc. Harbingers will take you to the first episode.
So what you neglected to mention was that this is based on a true story.
I think those lawyers would not be happy with the story we're telling. There's also some, for the Amazon viewers, there are also some smutty novels written by somebody with the last name of Phoenix, and those may pop up in your searches. So search in the video category to avoid that.
Should put that in the parents' warning. While searching for this content, you may happen upon
some
other
people will
content.
be like, "Oh, I'm going to look in the regular Amazon now so I can see the smut novels." But
all right, Brian,
anyway.
thank you so much for being here. That's actually all the time we have for today. But
Okay.
yep, Indiegogo, Phoenix Inc. Definitely hop on. I would love to see a lot of people support this. Like I said, I watched some of it on Amazon, and I agree. The subject matter is very important, and it's a far more positive and uplifting approach to the subject matter than something like 13 Reasons Why. Not trying to throw shade or anything, but we do want to uplift people and improve people's lives, and I genuinely believe this show will help do that. So hop on to Indiegogo and check that out. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay, so while we're waiting for our next guest to get ready, I want to do a quick message for Robin Hood Studios, which is the company that puts on Venture Utah. It is my company that I own and run and operate and also do like a lot of other things for, as all you business owners will, I'm sure, understand. So with Robin Hood Studios, one of our most popular services is what we call our customer conversion video. Now, we've worked very hard. Video production, for those who have dabbled in it or tried to get video production services, it's a very opaque industry. It's very hard to know what quotes you'll receive. Pricing can be, anywhere from 3 digits to 5 digits and 6 digits, and you have no idea what it's going to be, and it's all based on projects, and it's very complicated. So one of our goals has been to productify, turn our services into specific products, and our customer conversion video is one of the most successful examples of that. Now, a customer conversion video is designed to take someone who has heard about your business and convert them into an actual customer. So they've heard of your business, they know what you do, and then maybe they end up on the website, or maybe you're sending them an email, or they've been referred to you and they're doing some research on you. That is the context in which a customer conversion video should be viewed, and we do those for a flat rate of only $1,500, and we've got the process locked down very, very well, and our customer conversion videos are consistently highly successful and effective for our clients. So if you're interested in learning more about a customer conversion video, reach out to me. You can reach out on our website. We have a contact form, or next time you see one of us at a networking meeting, you can talk to us there. All right, our next guest is Michael Wolf of Wolf Entertainment, an audio expert and DJ, here to talk about how to avoid common pitfalls when you're looking to do an event for your business. Michael, thank you for being here.
Good to see you. Thank you.
All right, so tell us a little bit about what you do.
I am, first and foremost, a music lover. I've loved music my entire life. It has gotten me through so much as a child, growing up. It's just such a meaningful thing to me. Played drums for a lot of years in a lot of bands, moved my passion into DJing, radio, broadcast, things like that. It's never, ever gone away. I love just producing music, making music, delivering the perfect song at the right moment creates endless memories. That's what I love doing. So
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, it's good stuff.
So what's kind of walk us through your area of expertise a little bit?
Okay, so being a professional drummer for so many years and then being in radio broadcasting for so many years, what I've done, I've taken that experience and tried to bring it to a live event, whether it be a wedding, whether it be a corporate event, a private party, to bring all of those elements into one to make it as flawless as possible. So like when you're at a party and there's an MC or something like that, somebody is kind of driving the event. And that's what really makes the event memorable, is the good mix of music, the flow of the party or the event. And I try to deliver a polished front to back, perfect sound, good flow event that makes it memorable. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So a lot of times when people are thinking about the event, who's running audio is actually kind of an afterthought.
It really is.
It's
It really
sometimes
is.
the
Sometimes
last
like
thing to
that's
think
that
about.
guy over there, it's DJ Pandora, just some music in the background. You know what I mean?
iPod on shuffle.
Exactly.
still have iPods?
There's a big there's a big difference between hiring your cousin who has iTunes and a loudspeaker. For example, at my own wedding in the early '90s, I had a friend. He goes to broadcasting school. He's a DJ. He's great. Well, he showed up with his house stereo console, his house speakers, and a Radio Shack microphone.
Oh dear.
And the result of that. It was, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just through the years, I've been able to, I go to a lot of weddings, big family. My wife's the oldest of 6. I got friends with a lot of siblings and friends always getting married. And I watch what their DJ or whatever you call it, whatever's doing the audio or whatever, I just watch little things like, I could do that better. They should have done this. Why didn't they do that? Little things like, my favorite is wedding couple marching up, everybody's standing, everybody's crying, and then they're playing the wedding song, the wedding march, and then it just stops right in the middle like, what was that? Little tiny things that make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Like this video here, you're gonna post edit and I do that all in real time to make sure that nobody's like, that's the worst as a DJ. When you're playing a song or doing something, everybody just
Everybody
turns
looks
it-
at you.
and
Me.
yeah, and that's what I try to avoid at all costs.
Gotcha.
Just making it as smooth, very smooth, memorable, and to brag of it, I'm pretty good at it. So,
Well, awesome. So, it's when someone's considering doing an event for their business, whether it be a customer appreciation event or a webinar or seminar or CE classes or what have you, would you say it should be one of the first steps, if not the first step, to hire an audio person?
not necessarily, because not
Okay.
all events require a live DJ. Sometimes it's just not needed. Sometimes you just need a loudspeaker system with a microphone. Maybe
Sure.
they're doing an auction, maybe they're doing something like that, or they're doing speeches. You don't need a DJ for that.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I rent my PA system as well. So, because I don't need to be there mixing and scratching and having, just speakers. So that's available too. And if you just need background music, why should I be there all day if you're just going to play light music in the background, the dentist office music, basically. So there's different areas where they don't need an actual DJ there. So that's where you just have the loudspeakers, things like that. On my website, or my Facebook, I posted 40 important questions to ask if you're hiring a DJ. It's for weddings, but it applies for any event, really. Do you have insurance? How many of these gigs have you done? Tell me about your competition. That's a real important one because, this guy over here, yeah, he's sucks. That tells you a lot about the person you're talking to more than it talks about the competition.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just I didn't memorize the questions, but really solid questions. The one that got me the most is, do you have insurance? And so, I'm actually in the process of getting that now. So in case something happens,
Right.
something falls over, anything happens.
Oh yeah.
So I'm getting enough. This is a recent start for me. I'm getting enough gigs where that's very important. You know what I mean? So
I mean, honestly, even with professions that have licensure, we were talking about contractors
Right.
in the news segment.
Yeah.
Even ones that are licensed, honestly, for me, it's almost more important that they're insured.
Exactly.
'Cause even if they're licensed, that doesn't mean they're going to do a good job. But insurance means if they don't do a good job,
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
still good.
So, and in contracts, super important.
Yeah.
Do you have a contract? You'd be surprised how many DJs like, well, let's take care of it. It's all good. Okay, this is a wedding. This is very important. This is the most important day of someone's life. You got to make sure everything is just, again, it's all about being smooth, making it as smooth of a transition, smooth as business as possible. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So beyond the audio things, do you have expertise in other event-related areas?
Like I said, I did radio for a lot of years. From that, I've been able to produce several podcasts.
Okay.
So I do podcasts a lot. I've taken a break from it now, but my plan is to get back into it in 2020 to produce things like that, because it's, I would like to do videos, but I don't know video at all, honestly. So audio is where because I've done previous, political talk shows, pop culture shows, history shows, actually. I did a history podcast, taking various texts through, actually history books, and they just discuss those history books from their standpoint versus this history book with this standpoint, and put it together. It worked really well. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you said 40. You have a Facebook post with 40 questions to ask.
Yes, 40 the most important questions to ask when you're hiring for a wedding DJ, corporate event, private party, anything like that. So, and actually, it's not just questions. It has a whole explanation about every question. It's a longer post, but read it, because it'll help you save money. It'll help you save frustration. It'll help you weed out. For every one legit DJ business, there's 50 other DJs.
Kind of the same thing in our industry.
Exactly. Like, for example, I've got a friend of mine who's getting married, super happy. We talked seriously about hiring me for a DJ for his event, and we got down to the very end. Well, my cousin's going to do it for $50. Okay, do that. Here's what happens every time, though. Bro, I should have hired you because, wow.
Yeah.
And I go to these events sometimes where I wasn't hired because it's friends.
Sure.
And I don't say a word. It's not my gig, whatever. And then again, taking the notes of what should have happened, but I don't say anything because it's whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, my feelings aren't hurt. If you don't want to hire me, that's fine. I don't care.
At that point, saying something really doesn't
like,
help anything. Yeah.
But and that's just the part of the business. We're not going to fit every client, and that's okay. There's plenty of clients, so works pretty well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that post, this ethereal, epic Facebook post, is it on your?
It's incredible.
Is it on your page or your personal profile?
It is on both, actually.
Both, okay.
So facebook.com/I can DJ that is where that's at. It's also on my personal Facebook post. Read it. It's really good. Working on getting my website set up again. ICanDJThat.com is going to be the website. So.
Nice, I like that. I can DJ that.
Yeah.
But the name of your company is Wolf Entertainment.
Wolf Entertainment, LLC, yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that the best way for people to reach out and contact you?
For now, yes. The facebook.com/I can DJ that is the best way to get a hold of me. Go there, or my personal profile has my business there as well.
So I got one last question for you.
Sure, absolutely.
And that is, what is the craziest thing that has ever happened while you've been doing an event?
The craziest thing that ever happened.
I know it's a bit of a curveball. We didn't talk about this before, so.
No. Okay, there was a brand new club in Ogden. This is probably 6-7 years ago.
Okay.
And I mean, wood floors. This was this guy's dream, is to have a club. So he's got everything. He's got the old vintage video games. He's got the bar, juice bar. He wanted alcohol-free. Just everything was great. The black walls and the art and the black lights. It was a cool little place. He gutted out an old Chuck E. Cheese, made this into his club.
Oh, that's really cool.
And really cool. So I'm bringing in my gear and setting up all my stuff, and there's the marquee with my name, and I'm like, that's cool. It's like one of my first Utah gigs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm wearing this plaid jacket because it's wintertime, bringing in my gear and everything, and kids are like, who's that old guy? Who's that? And was he setting up for the DJ and this and that? And I get everything, I'll set up, doing the sound check, do the stuff, and I start the music, dubstep and all this other great stuff, and dude, we thought you were the DJ or the janitor. Like, oh, God. It was hilarious. It was one of the greatest things to remember because I'm older than a lot of DJs. I'm going to be 49 this February.
Okay.
So the kids coming up, they're 18, 19, early 20s, and they're DJing and they're passionate in it and they're good. A lot of these kids are great DJs. Who's this old guy? You know, I take that passion never goes away. It never does. When you love music, the way all of these DJs out there do, it's just you take that passion and pour it into your performance. You're mixing songs from way back in the 80s and you bring it into something from today, and then you bring this over here, and then you're playing that request for that guy, and it just comes together. And you deliver a product, a show, and it just creates the endless memories. So props to all the upcoming DJs and music lovers. Stick with it, man, because you're going to take all of that experience and just build and build and build a really spectacular package, really. So
do you have a DJ name?
No. Michael Wolf. I figured Wolf's a cool last name. So
The Wolf.
The Wolf, exactly.
Michael the Wolf.
Right.
There you go.
People call me Wolfman. No, that's Wolfman Jack, another legendary radio DJ who's passed on.
Oh,
But
yeah?
I'm not going to use that one because that's like sacred ground. He was incredible.
Could you do Jack Jr. or Wolfman Jr.? or something?
Jack Jr. I'll stick to my name. So
Sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah,
that
yeah.
sounds awesome. Thank you so much for being on
Thank
the
you,
show,
man.
Michael.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
This has been great.
Thank you.
Okay, and that is it for our episode today.